Give me 23 minutes, and I'll erase your weakness. Not because I'm here to pump you up with fleeting motivation or drown you in feel-good fluff, but because I'm going to show you that what you've been calling weakness isn't real. It's a story, a lie you've told yourself so many times you've started to believe it's who you are. If you're ready to sit with the discomfort, to let Master Yi's wisdom cut through the noise you've buried yourself in, something inside you will break open. And what comes through won't be a new you, it'll be the real you, the one that's been there all along, smothered under layers of doubt and excuses, waiting for you to stop hiding. Let's get one thing straight, Master Yi didn't write for people who want to be coddled. He didn't speak to the fragile, the overly sensitive, or those who cling to their anxiety like a security blanket. He spoke to the ones who are done lying to themselves, the ones who've realized no one's coming to save them. If you're at that point, if you're sick of the fear, the passivity, the endless apologies that have made you invisible, then this is where you start. Not a transformation, but a return to what you've always been capable of. Strength isn't something you find, it's something you uncover. It's buried under self-doubt, societal conditioning, and your addiction to staying comfortable. So let's start with the big question: what is weakness? Most people think it's crying too much, or not being physically tough, or lacking the discipline to stick to a routine. But Shi Heng Yi would tell you that's nonsense. Weakness isn't about emotions or size, it's about submission. It's needing someone else's approval to feel valid. It's choosing peace over truth just to avoid conflict. It's calling your laziness self-care, your fear humility, or your insecurity empathy. Weakness isn't the absence of strength, it's the betrayal of yourself. It's when you know what you want but lie about it to keep others comfortable. Here's the hard truth: the world is designed to keep you weak. Your education taught you to follow rules. Your culture taught you to blend in. Your social media feeds you helplessness dressed up as awareness. Even the people who claim to love you, some of them benefit from your softness, your silence, your hesitation. They praise your selflessness, reward your compliance, and cheer your restraint, not because it's good for you, but because it keeps you small, predictable, and easy to manage. Master Yi saw this. He saw how society molds you into a tame, domesticated version of yourself. He said, the individual must fight to avoid being swallowed by the tribe. That fight isn't physical, it's mental. It's about holding on to your instincts when the world demands you dull them. It's about staying sharp, even dangerous, not violent, but unwilling to be tamed. The first step to erasing your weakness is seeing how you've been taught to confuse it with goodness. You've been told saying no is rude, setting boundaries is selfish, and choosing yourself is arrogance. But Shi Yi flips that on its head. Real strength, the kind that makes you magnetic, respected, undeniable, comes from rejecting the herd's rules. It comes from saying no to safety, no to the need to be liked. So ask yourself, who are you when you don't need approval? Strip away the filters, the people-pleasing, the constant editing of yourself. If no one expected you to be nice, agreeable, or humble, what would you say? What would you demand? What would you walk away from? Most people can't answer that. They've built their entire identity on fitting in, on surviving by being what others want. Master Yi despised that. He saw it as the death of your spirit. When you filter your truth to fit someone else's comfort zone, you've already lost. You feel it, don't you? That quiet resentment, that low-grade frustration, that exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. That's not just burnout, that's the cost of living a life that silences your instincts to keep everyone else happy. Shi Heng Yi would tell you, you weren't born to be soft. You weren't born to tolerate everything or fold every time someone raises an eyebrow. You were born to be sharp, primal, unshakable, not reckless, but untouchable. Let's dig into where your weakness lives, your habits. Because it's not some abstract flaw, it's built into the small, daily choices you make that quietly erode your willpower while convincing you everything's fine. Master Yi said, those who cannot master themselves will be mastered by others. Think about your mornings. You wake up, and what's the first thing you do? Grab your phone, scroll, check notifications. You've already lost. Not because phones are evil, but because you didn't claim your day, you gave it away. You scroll, you compare, you envy, and then you tell yourself it's no big deal. But every time you react before you create, you weaken your ability to take charge. You're training yourself to be emotionally soft, to lose your edge. So let's fix that. Start owning your mornings. Before you touch a screen, check yourself. Stand tall, fix your posture, take a deep breath. Remind yourself, you're not a consumer first. You're a creator, a builder, a strategist. Your energy isn't for algorithms, it's for your purpose. This isn't about some rigid routine, it's about starting your day with intention, not surrender. When you claim those first moments, you set the tone for everything else. You're telling your mind, your body, your world, I'm in control. Now let's talk about your words, because weakness leaks out in how you speak. You water yourself down to make others comfortable. You say, I don't know, when you do. You apologize for things that don't need apologies, like having an opinion, taking up space, or wanting something. You soften your voice so no one feels threatened. That's not kindness, that's leakage. You're bleeding power, and people can sense it. That's why they talk over you, dismiss you, underestimate you. Shi Heng Yi didn't whisper his truth, he spoke with clarity, like a blade. He didn't expect you to shout, but to be precise. Clarity is force. It makes people pause, lean in, take you seriously. Here's how you start: stop hiding in your words. Own your opinions. Say them cleanly, without fluff or disclaimers. Don't over-explain, let your statement stand. Embrace the silence that follows. Most people fear it because it creates tension, but you won't. Tension is where respect is earned. When you speak with weight, your presence shifts. People feel it, even if they can't explain why. You're not being rude, you're being real. And if someone's used to you shrinking, they might push back. Let them. You're done making yourself small to keep their world comfortable. Now, emotions. You might think strength means feeling nothing, but that's a lie. That's not strength, that's numbness, and it's just another kind of weakness. Master Yi didn't teach you to shut off your emotions, he taught you to command them. That means you can feel everything: anger, sadness, joy, and still choose what to do next. Weakness is reacting without thinking, exploding when you're triggered, or chasing approval to soothe your hurt. Strength is feeling it all and staying steady. When someone disrespects you, you don't lash out or beg for their respect. You pause. You look them in the eye. You wait. And when you act, it's deliberate, sharp, exact, like a surgeon, not a brawler. Stop excusing your outbursts by saying, I'm just emotional. That's not truth, that's lack of discipline. Discipline isn't about being cold, it's about being clear. It's the difference between crying because you're falling apart and crying because you're letting something go with purpose. The first makes you feel helpless, the second makes you human. Shi Yi would tell you, don't run from your emotions, but don't let them run you. Learn to sit with them, understand them, and then decide what they mean for your next move. And let's kill this idea of victimhood. Master Yi saw it as a trap, a modern kind of slavery, not of the body, but of the mind. When you cling to your pain, when you make your trauma your identity, you're loyal to your weakness. You're addicted to the sympathy, the excuses, the permission to stay stuck. Shi Heng Yi didn't dismiss your pain, he dismissed passivity. Pain is real, but using it to justify staying small is a choice. So stop telling your story like it's a tragedy. Stop reciting your hardships like they define you. Instead, turn them into fuel. Your past isn't a chain, it's a forge. Your scars aren't flaws, they're proof you survived. Use them to build something unbreakable. Let's go deeper into what's holding you back, your why. Master Yi said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But here's the truth most people miss: your why isn't something you stumble across. It's not hiding in a self-help book or waiting for a lightning bolt moment of clarity. Your why is something you choose. You decide it, carve it into your life, and let it guide every step. Without it, weakness creeps in because you're aimless. Distractions take over, drama feels important, and doubt becomes your default. But when you have a why, a reason that burns in your chest, weakness loses its grip. You stop tolerating nonsense. You stop wasting energy on people or habits that don't align. So, right now, decide: what do you serve? What do you build? What do you protect? What will you refuse to tolerate for one more day? Make it real. Write it down. Make it non-negotiable. If you don't choose your why, the world will choose one for you, and it'll be weak. It'll keep you obedient, distracted, and forgettable. But that's not your path anymore. You're here to create something that matters, to live with purpose, not just exist. A clear why turns your energy into a blade, cutting through anything that doesn't serve your mission. Now, let's talk about your subconscious, because that's where weakness hides. It's not just your habits or words, it's the stories you've accepted without questioning. Shi Heng Yi knew weakness isn't just mental or physical, it's existential. It's rooted in the quiet agreements you made with fear long before you knew what you were signing up for. One of the deepest roots? The fear of standing alone. You've spent your life chasing belonging. School taught you to fit in, friends taught you to stay in line, family taught you to avoid rocking the boat. Relationships taught you to be agreeable, to soften your edges just to be accepted. Slowly, you became addicted to approval, not love. You traded your authenticity for a seat at someone else's table. But Master Yi would tell you, you must be willing to stand alone if you ever want to know who you are. Belonging comes at a cost: your strength, your individuality, your truth. You're done paying that price. You're going to unlearn the need to be liked. You're going to build your own table, and if no one shows up, that's fine. Solitude is better than submission. Solitude gives you space to hear your own voice, to sharpen your instincts, to become someone who doesn't beg for validation. That's your first real upgrade, choosing yourself over the crowd. Let's get practical. Why do you procrastinate? Why do you sabotage the things that could make you better? It's not laziness, it's loyalty to an old promise you made to stay small. Somewhere along the way, you learned that standing out made people uncomfortable. You saw that ambition made others pull away, that honesty brought punishment, that shining too brightly left you isolated. So you adapted. You learned to dim your light, to delay your dreams, to talk yourself out of your own potential just to keep things safe. That's not laziness, that's survival. But survival isn't enough anymore. Shi Yi would say, the snake that cannot shed its skin must die. Weakness is refusing to evolve because you're scared of who you might lose if you grow. But you're ready to shed that skin, not slowly, but with force. The people pleaser, the overthinker, the one who says, maybe, when they mean, no, they're gone. Start with your language. Every time you say, I don't know, when you do, you reinforce doubt. Every time you apologize for existing, you chip away at your spine. Speak with intent. Say what you mean, and let it land. Don't soften it to make others comfortable. If they call you harsh, let them. They're just reacting to the version of you they could control, and that version is dead. Your body carries weakness too. It's in your posture, your shallow breaths, the way you move like you're apologizing for taking up space. Most people carry themselves like prey, shoulders slumped, eyes down, energy small. But you're changing that. Stand like someone who's watched. Walk like someone who expects to be followed. Sit like you own the room, not like you're asking for permission. Presence comes from alignment, knowing what you stand for and letting it show in how you carry yourself. Ask yourself, What do I believe in so fiercely that I'd walk away from anything that disrespects it? Write it. Live it. Let it shape every move you make. Now let's cut deeper into something you've been carrying too long: victimhood. Shi Heng Yi didn't just dislike it, he saw it as a cage, a self-imposed prison that keeps you loyal to your suffering. When you make your pain your identity, you're not just weak, you're enslaved. You start to lean into your struggles, reciting your traumas like they're your personality. You wear your wounds like badges, expecting sympathy, waiting for rescue, using your past as an excuse to stay stuck. Master Yi wouldn't stand for that. He didn't deny pain, he denied letting it define you. Pain is real, but passivity is a choice. And you're done choosing it. Here's how you break free: rewrite your story. Stop calling yourself a victim of your past, call yourself a builder of your future. Don't say, "I was hurt," say, "I became unbreakable." Don't say, "I'm anxious," say, "I've mastered stillness." Your words aren't just sounds, they're spells. They shape how you see yourself and how the world sees you. Speak power, or don't speak at all. No one cares about what you survived, not really. They care about what you became because of it. If you let your pain turn you bitter, fragile, or small, you've let it win. But if you turn it into fire, into focus, into something quiet but unshakable, then your scars aren't weaknesses, they're armor. Let's get tactical again. Weakness hides in your indecision, in the way you hesitate to act because you're scared of getting it wrong. Shi Yi would tell you that indecision is just fear dressed up as caution. Every time you delay a choice, you're not being careful, you're betraying your own momentum. Strength isn't about always knowing the right move, it's about making a move and owning the consequences. So start small, but start now. Pick one thing you've been avoiding, a conversation, a project, a truth you need to face, and act on it today. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Readiness is a myth. Action creates clarity, and clarity kills weakness. Your environment matters too. Weakness thrives when you surround yourself with people who benefit from your smallness. Look at your circle. Are they pushing you to grow, or are they comfortable with your stagnation? Master Yi would say you're not here to be tolerated, you're here to be felt. If the people around you are threatened by your ambition, your honesty, or your intensity, that's their problem, not yours. Don't dim yourself to keep them comfortable. Start setting boundaries. Say no to conversations that drain you, to requests that pull you off course, to relationships that demand you shrink. No isn't rude, it's respect for your own energy. And if someone walks away because you're no longer their doormat, let them go. You're building a life, not a fan club. Now, let's talk about discipline, because that's where weakness goes to die. Shi Heng Yi didn't preach motivation, he preached consistency. Motivation fades, discipline endures. It's not about feeling like doing the work, it's about doing it anyway. Start with one non-negotiable habit. Maybe it's waking up at the same time every day, or spending 10 minutes planning your goals, or moving your body even when you don't feel like it. Make it small, but make it sacred. Every time you follow through, you're training yourself to trust your own word. That's power. That's sovereignty. Weakness can't survive in a life where you keep promises to yourself. And don't fall for the trap of perfection. You don't need to be flawless, you need to be relentless. Shi Yi didn't care about your mistakes, he cared about your refusal to stay down. Every time you slip, get up faster. Every time you doubt, act anyway. The world doesn't reward the perfect, it rewards the persistent. Your discipline, your choices, your willingness to keep moving forward despite fear or failure, that's what makes you dangerous. Not loud, not aggressive, but untouchable. That's the version of you we're unearthing, the one that's been there all along, waiting for you to stop apologizing for it. You're still here, and that means something. Most people would have bailed by now, flinched, clicked away, chased a quick distraction to dodge the discomfort. But you're different. You're staying with it, and that tells me something in you is waking up. Something raw, something real. Shi Heng Yi didn't just talk about strength, he understood what makes people afraid of it. Weakness isn't just a lack of willpower or muscle, it's a deeper fear of your own potential. It's the stories you've swallowed, the limits you've accepted, the quiet deals you made with fear before you even knew what you were giving up. One of the biggest? The fear of being too much. You've been taught to shrink so others don't feel small. You've learned to soften your voice, dull your edges, and hide your ambition because it makes people uncomfortable. Somewhere along the way, you decided that being powerful meant being alone, that being honest meant being rejected, that being big meant being a target. So you stayed safe. You procrastinated. You sabotaged yourself. Not because you're lazy, but because you're loyal to that old promise to stay small. Master Yi would call that a death sentence. He said, "The snake that cannot cast its skin must die." You're not here to cling to that old version of you. You're here to rip it off, the hesitation, the second guessing, the need to be liked. Gone. Let's get specific. Start with your language. Every time you say, sorry, for no reason, for interrupting, for existing, for wanting something, you're cutting yourself down. Every time you say, maybe, when you mean, no, you're fracturing your own integrity. Stop it. Speak like you mean it. Say what you want, what you believe, and let it land. Don't cushion it with explanations or apologies. People might call you blunt. Good. That's just their reflex to you stepping into your power. You're not here to make them comfortable, you're here to be true. Your body's next. Weakness shows up in how you carry yourself. Slumped shoulders, shallow breaths, eyes that dart away, you're moving like prey, not a predator. Shi Yi would tell you to change that today. Stand like you're being watched. Walk like you're leading. Breathe like you're claiming the room. Your posture isn't just physical, it's a signal to your mind and everyone around you. When you move with certainty, you feel it, and so do they. Presence isn't loud, it's heavy. It's the kind of energy that makes people pause without you saying a word. Ask yourself, what do I stand for so deeply that I'd burn bridges to protect it? Let that answer shape how you move, how you sit, how you look people in the eye. Now, let's bury another lie, that your pain makes you special. Too many people wear their suffering like a crown, thinking it justifies their weakness. Master Yi saw through that. He didn't glorify struggle, he demanded you rise above it. Your trauma, your setbacks, your failures, they're not your identity. They're raw material. Stop saying, I'm broken. Say, I'm forged. Stop saying, I'm a survivor. Say, I'm a force. Your story doesn't end with what happened to you, it starts with what you build from it. No one cares about your scars unless they see the strength they shaped. So use them. Let your past fuel your fire, not your excuses. And here's the final piece for now, stop waiting for permission. Weakness loves to hide in the idea that you need someone else's approval to start, to act, to be who you are. Shi Heng Yi would tell you that's a trap. You don't need a sign, a green light, or a pat on the back. You need to decide, right now, that you're done playing small. You're done delaying. You're done letting fear veto your dreams. The world doesn't owe you a stage, you build it. And if no one claps, you keep building. That's not arrogance, that's ownership. That's the kind of strength that makes you undeniable. This is the final stretch, and you're still here. That's not accidental. You're not like the others who'd rather scroll for a quick hit of comfort than face their own reflection. Something in you is stirring, something old, something fierce. Shi Heng Yi didn't just write about power, he wrote about the courage it takes to claim it. He knew weakness isn't just a habit or a mindset, it's a betrayal of the truth you've always carried. Deep down, you know who you are. The grounded, clear, unshakable version of you has been listening this whole time, nodding, remembering what it feels like to move without apology, to guard your energy like a fortress, to say no with your chest and yes only to what sharpens you. Let's close the loop. You already knew everything I've said, not in your head, but in your bones. The real you, the one Master Yi would recognize, has been waiting for you to stop hiding behind excuses, delays, and broken promises to yourself. That version of you doesn't need fixing, it needs unleashing. But here's the catch, you can't unknow this now. You can't go back to the old you, the one who shrank to fit in, who apologized for wanting more, who let fear call the shots. You know better, and that means you have a choice, evolve or lie. Lying means staying comfortable, staying small, staying forgettable. Evolving means stepping into the person Shi Yi would respect, not the loudest, not the richest, but the most real. Let's make it practical one last time. Start with your mornings, own them. No phone, no noise, just you and your purpose. Stand tall, breathe deep, and remind yourself what you're building. Next, your words, speak like they matter. No more softening, no more apologies for existing. Say what you mean, and let the silence after carry weight. Your body, carry it like you're leading, not following. Shoulders back, eyes steady, breath full. Every move you make should signal, I'm here, and I'm not asking permission. Now, your relationships. Weakness thrives when you cling to people who keep you small. Shi Heng Yi would tell you to walk away from anyone who demands you dim your light. Not with drama, not with a fight, just with clarity. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Surround yourself with people who don't just tolerate your strength, they demand it. And if that means standing alone for a while, do it. Solitude is where you forge yourself. It's where you learn to trust your own voice. Finally, your why. You chose it earlier, what you serve, what you build, what you protect. Now live it. Make it your compass. Every decision, every action, every word should answer to it. When you're aligned with your why, weakness can't touch you. Distractions fade, drama dies, doubt becomes irrelevant. You don't need motivation, you have purpose. And purpose is heavier than fear, sharper than doubt, stronger than any excuse. This isn't the end, it's the beginning. You're not the same person who started this video. You've seen your weakness for what it is, a story, a habit, a choice you no longer make. Shi Yi would look at you now and see someone who's ready, not perfect, but relentless. Someone who walks away from what shrinks them, who says no to what dulls them, who builds without waiting for applause. That's not motivation, that's home. You're back where you belong, and your job now is to stay there. Guard your strength like your life depends on it, because it does. Become the person Master Yi would nod to, not because you're flawless, but because you're true.